I grew up thinking I could spot a crooked cop from a mile away, but 3 weeks undercover taught me otherwise. My name's Marcus Reed. At least that's the name I gave the street, and every afternoon I'd sling a beat-up guitar over my shoulder, stake out a corner in downtown Memphis, and play like my rent depended on it. In reality, I'm Detective Daniel Carter. Internal affairs and the badge pressing against my back pocket was the heaviest thing I've ever carried. Each note I strummed was bait. Every dollar tossed into my case was evidence, and every smile I gave was a mask I had to hold in place. That first week felt almost like a vacation. Warm air, golden light bouncing off the brick facades, the smell of barbecue drifting down Main Street. But underneath it all was the reason I was there, Officer Brian Keller, a patrol cop with a spotless uniform and dirty hands. We'd been tracking him for months, missing cash from evidence lockers, street vendors complaining about permits that never existed, little guys losing their day's wages to a man with a badge who knew they wouldn't be believed. My captain said we needed irrefutable proof. My idea was to become the kind of person Keller liked to steal from. By the second week, I'd settled into the role. Same spot by the bus stop, same worn-out guitar case lined with velvet and micro cameras, same cup of coffee from Miss Loretta at the flower stand across the street. Folks started calling me that blues guy and requesting old standards. I smiled, nodded, and played, but my eyes were always scanning. Keller liked to work casual, never making it obvious, just drifting close like a shark circling a pier. You'd see his eyes flick from the piche to the crowd, waiting for the exact moment to dip a hand in. The first time he stole from me, it was almost anticlimactic. A young mother had just dropped a 5 into my case. Keller leaned down like he was adding his own tip, and in one smooth motion palmed that 5 plus a 20 I'd just gotten from a tourist. $30 gone in under 3 seconds. I kept playing. My fingers never missed a note, but my heart was hammering. We had him on video now. The marked bills logged his face clear as day. It took everything I had not to stand up and blow my cover right there. He came back again the next day. By then, the case held even more cash, part tips, part evidence. Miss Loretta crossed over with a cup of sweet tea just as his hand hovered over the bills. "Marcus, baby," she said, "this heat will dry you out. Drink this." She had no idea she just blocked a theft in progress, but Keller's hand froze. He pasted on a smile, straightened his belt, and mumbled something about community policing. I could see the frustration in his jaw, the twitch of a man used to getting his way. Then came Ethan, the college kid from the coffee shop. Journalism major, camera always in hand. He strolled out, said, "Hey Marcus, mind if I get some footage? Golden hour's perfect." I nodded, pretending to be flattered, but inside I was grinning. 2 civilian witnesses, 1 camera phone rolling, 1 old lady who knew me by name. This was the setup you dream about when you're internal affairs. Keller must have felt it too. His eyes went cold and he changed tactics. "Sir, I'm going to need to see your ID and permits," he said, voice gone official. That was his move, turn the theft into an inspection, confiscate cash under color of law. I pulled out the laminated busking permit. We'd crafted my fake ID, every detail nailed down to withstand scrutiny. He scanned my face, the documents back to my face. I could see the gears turning. This guy's too clean, too calm, too practiced. Out of the corner of my eye, I caught Officer Chloe Kim coming up the block, another clean cop we'd briefed. She played it cool. Everything okay here, but her body language told me she was ready to step in if things went sideways. The tension thickened. Keller still had my ID in his hands, still standing over my guitar case full of marked bills, still trying to decide whether I was prey or predator. I'd had enough. 3 weeks of guitar calluses of playing the humble musician while watching him rob people who couldn't fight back. 3 weeks of holding my breath every time his shadow fell across my case. My voice came out steady but hard. "Officer Keller, I think we need to have a conversation." He blinked, caught off guard by the edge in my tone. Miss Loretta stiffened. Ethan's camera zoomed in. Chloe subtly shifted her stance. Keller tried to recover. "Just making sure everything's legitimate," he said, but I was already reaching into my back pocket. That badge I'd been carrying like a stone in my spine came out shining. "Detective Daniel Carter, Internal Affairs," I said, letting my real voice surface. "You're under arrest for theft, abuse of authority, and violation of civil rights under color of law." His face went white. He staggered back, His hand twitched toward his holster before sense kicked in. Around us, the sidewalk went silent, except for the click of Ethan's phone recording everything. "You set me up," Keller hissed, panic rising. "This is entrapment." I shook my head. "Entrapment's when we make you do something you wouldn't normally do. You've been stealing from folks for years. Today you just picked the wrong one." Chloe moved closer, her body cam blinking. Miss Loretta's hands trembling around her paper cup. "You took money from my neighbor Dorothy too," she said suddenly, voice breaking decades of fear. "And Miguel with the taco truck, you took his day's cash and called it a fee." People in the crowd murmured, faces hardening as memories surfaced. Keller had been robbing them in plain sight. Now they saw him caught. Detective Miller, my handler, appeared at the edge of the seen unmarked car, idling at the curb. We cuffed Keller while Chloe read off the time and location for the record. "Over $40, he muttered bitterly. "My career's over. Over $40. I leaned close enough for only him to hear. "No, Brian, it's over because you stopped being a cop a long time ago." As we walked him to the car, Agent Sarah Kim from the FBI arrived with news simultaneous warrants on his entire crew. Lieutenant sergeants, patrol partners, picked up across the city at that exact moment. The look on Keller's face shifted from rage to hollow disbelief. The badge he'd hidden behind had finally turned on him. When it was over, the street looked the same: bus stop, flower stand, late sun, but something had changed. People lingered to thank me, to shake my hand, to tell their own stories. Miss Loretta pressed a crumpled 5 into my palm and whispered, "For the music, detective. You earned it." I hadn't realized until then how much I'd come to care about that corner, those faces, the quiet solidarity of folks who'd been surviving under his shadow. I packed up my guitar for the last time, strings still warm under my fingers, and looked out over the crowd. Sometimes I said to Ethan's camera, justice doesn't wear a suit or carry a gun. Sometimes it plays a beat-up guitar on a street corner and waits for a bad man to make his usual mistake. And that's where I'll leave you. Maybe you've seen something like this. Maybe you've been the one nobody believed. Maybe you've wondered if the badge on someone's chest really meant protect and serve. Drop a comment. Tell me where you're watching from. Tell me what you think about this kind of sting. Tell me if you think we crossed a line or finally drew one. Because justice only works if we all stay awake, stay loud, and keep each other honest.